and putting on the snap-on shank or the foot holder with that's the QO foot already attached. So this is a nice open toe free motion foot, non-hopping, heights controlled by the machine, so very easily to adjust. I'm going to go ahead and bring that, well, I need to switch my machine over to regular free motion. It was set up for ruler work. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and bring up that bobbin thread. I'm using my glide in the top, and I'm pretty certain the bobbin that I'm using is just a plain old all-purpose sewing thread. I could fold this, but I don't want it to be kind of folded up, you know, and then sticking up from the surface of my workspace here while I'm quilting it. So I like to just kind of mark that halfway point. And again, I don't really like to fold it. So I'm just kind of eyeballing it and hit it with my fingernail. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put down this pretty little piece of Coriander fabric. It's a pretty little floral. Let's see if I can get you guys a little closer to where I'm stitching. There we go. Hi, Jackie. And Catherine from London. Hello, hello. Welcome. So placing that fabric, it's just a rough cut square that I'm using. Just a little rough cut square. And then this is another little piece of fabric from the line of Coriander, what is it? Hello Sunshine. And I'm going to put that right there. And I've got my machine set up for free motion quilting. I am going to lower the foot height quite a bit. Remember, this machine, the foot height is controlled by the machine's menu. Because when I lower the foot, it's pretty high above my, I almost said quilt sandwich, but my paper and fabric. So I'm going to lower that down quite a bit. I think that'll do. Yep. We just don't want everything flopping around while I stitch. Because when it flops around, that's when you get torn up threads and messed up machine and all that lovely stuff. So I'm going to drop my needle. I'm going to start over here. And the first thing I'm going to do is just make a circle in this yellow fabric. And I'm just eyeballing it. This is going to have like a sketchy kind of feel to it. So it does not have to be perfect, which is good because that's not the way I operate. I do not like, well, I'd love to do perfection. I'm just not very good at it. I suspect most of us aren't, even those who say they're good at it. All right, so bobbin thread's been pulled up, needle is in the down position, and I'm just going to kind of use my fingertips to hold that fabric down. I could use a little bit of the little glue stick that you can use for quilting, or Roxanne's Glue Based It, or something like that, and I've got quite the oval. I think I'm going to come over here. Like I said, this is not going to be perfect. When you go around it, we're going to go around 3 times. The first time, it looks kind of nasty. The second time looks like you're just trying to fix it. The third time you go around, makes it look like you meant to do it. And if you want to go around even more, you certainly can. I kind of feel like that looks like an eyeball. I think we're going to go around it again. But that repetition gives it a look of intention. All right, so stitching just a couple of times in place and cutting my threads. You want to be careful to keep your stitch length from being too short on something like this, especially if you're using a thinner paper than what I'm using, because you don't want your stitches to totally perforate the paper. So D, I'm making some little free motion cards. Just trim that thread off. Now, this is a lot like machine embroidered applique. So we've stitched our fabric down, and then we're just going to take our little embroidery scissors. They have a little curved tip to them. And I am just cutting around here. I'm trying to keep the line nice and smooth. And the reason I cut after is because that way if I kind of change up my design or I stitch totally different than what I intended, I've got fabric there. You know, if I cut a circle, then I'm going to be trying to get around that circle, and that circle won't have as much stuff for me to hold on to. Now, I certainly could put fusible web on the back and cut out a circle and fuse it down, and then it'll stay put. But I just like doing it this way. I think there's probably several different variations, more than several different variations of doing something like this. The important thing is to have fun with it. And trim. Hopefully you guys can see me doing this. There. So I've got my little bits trimmed off. There's my little circle. Okay. And bring it back underneath here. And we're going to do a 5-petaled flower. So that means the center one is going to be on the top here. 2 going here, 2 going here. So I'm going to bring my needle over here and bring up my bobbin thread again. Drop that needle down, put my gloves back on. Hi, Patsy, how are you? Gotta put my gloves on. So now, with that circle going through both layers of fabric, this isn't going to move around quite as much. That makes it easier anyway. And I'm checking to see where that halfway point is for my cards. So we're good. This is a great time to use needles that you might have in your kit or your pincushion machine needles that you know have been used, but you're not sure what they are or how used they have been. Because once you use them on this project and you go through some cardstock, you're going to want to just throw these needles away. So needles are very important and meant to be gotten rid of. So right there, my card got stuck on my slider right here. So we're gonna have to get that up. There's that drawback to having my little bobbin case area cut out on my machine. Didn't like that at all. All right. Another petal. I don't like the looks of that one, but it's okay. It's a very forgiving little thing here, because just like the circle, we're going to go around the petals a couple of times. So the first time looks like a mess, the second time looks like you're trying to cover over a mess, and the third time looks like it's done on purpose. All right, so there's my flower. Around we go, and this is a time that if you have kind of gotten some odd shapes to your petals, we're going to rotate that around, that you can kind of fix them. So this is that petal I did where it got hung up on the slider. Again, you don't want them to be too, the stitches to be too short. And you're not trying to backtrack. We're being sketchy. Doesn't matter if you're inside or outside. The outside is going to be where you're going to trim the fabric. So just keep that in mind. back. And now we're just going to give that flower a little detail while I'm here. Voila. And I'm just going to cut the threads with my thread cutter. All right, so again, I've got my little curved embroidery scissors. I love these scissors. These are by Havel. They've got nice big finger holes. They're not too big, not too small. They're really, really sharp, got a nice curved tip to them. If you do machine embroidery, they're great for that. They're great for trimming threads. And I'm just going in here. I'm not trying to get right up against the edge of my stitching. Just leaving maybe, what, a 1/16 of an inch all the way around. You could probably even go up to an 1/8 of an inch. Probably depends on the weave of your fabric and the look you're going for. But by trimming afterwards, then I've got more fabric around to stitch my design on, and easy to hold and keep things from sliding around. So there's our little flower, and if I want to go back and add some little flourishes or leaves, I certainly can. There's my little card. Let's see. So let's take a look at the back. This paper's stiff enough it'll stand up, so that's nice. You make it for place cards or something. So on the inside, it's not super, super ugly, but it's not super pretty. So if you had some pretty scrapbooking papers, you might want to cut a rectangle and glue it down over. You want to make sure when you glue it down over here, if you're using a really tacky wet glue, you don't want to put it over the holes and have that glue ooze forward to the front. So just a fun little thing that you can do with free motion. So it's a great way to try out some new designs and play with some scraps, because, you know, who doesn't have scraps?